Hey, how's it going YouTube? Domino Paris 21 here, and I'm here with episode 2 of why I play this deck. If you guys aren't aware, this is actually a segment that I'm doing on my channel that involves me just taking all my individual decks that I currently play and have in Vanguard and just share with you guys my experiences with the deck and just talk about what are some things I like about the deck that made me want to play it in the first place. So the idea with this segment, of course, is just to help promote variety in the game and help open players' eyes to different decks in the game that they may not have thought of in the first place. So what I have here for you guys is, I think, one of the more interesting clans in this game, and that is Dark Irregulars. There's a lot of things to like about Dark Irregulars. I mean, one, demonic beings, that's always pretty cool. There's usually some kind of badassery to them at all times, and I think the artwork is really cool on these. I mean, of course, one of my favorite things with them is, of course, the devil girls, those succubuses. I don't know why I like devil girls. Even though Alluring Succubus, she kind of looks better on the anime. I don't like her artwork on this. But yes, I like my devil girls. I don't know why, but that's just me. Don't judge me. So, yeah, Dark Irregulars, one thing that really interests me about the Dark Irregulars is that there's not really a standard build that they're identified by. Like, for instance, Gold Paladins, you have the Spectral Duke Dragon build, you have the Garmor Azel build, you have the Pellinor build, like Oracle Think Tank, you have Tsukiyomi Solus. There's usually, when you talk about a clan, there's usually specific decks you can associate them with. The only deck you can really associate Dark Irregulars with is the Bladewing Reggie deck, because Bladewing Reggie, of course, has to be a dedicated build around him. But what's interesting with Dark Irregulars is that although Bladewing Reggie is probably the closest they have in terms of a standard deck, there's a ton of variety in every deck in Dark Irregulars. For instance, I myself included, I have about 5 total people that play Dark Irregulars. All of our builds are completely different. One major reason that you have such variety among the Dark Irregular decks is because they don't really have a particular focus to do something other than Bladewing Reggie. But even then, Bladewing Reggie can be splashed in different variety of Dark Irregulars deck just to take advantage of his selective soul charging skill. Excuse me. Now with Dark Irregulars, another thing that really makes them interesting is that they have a different selection of bosses to choose from. Now, of course, you have Amon, which I think is the best one, Dark Lord of Abyss, and Bladewing Reggie, and then you also have the No Life King Death Anchor. Fortunately, I don't have any right now to show you guys. And Steel Vampire, which I guess is somewhat of a boss monster, but within those 5 bosses, you can make different combinations, and depending on what combination you do, they can really have a lot of good synergy in your deck. So they don't necessarily have like 2 bosses or 2 cards that are specifically designed for one another. There's different varieties and different combinations you can experiment with. Now, my current build for Dark Irregulars, it revolves around these 2 guys right here. Dark Lord of Abyss and, I can never remember the first part of his name, Demon World Marquise Amon. Or Marcus, I don't know, I say Marcus. So, these 2 guys, the reason why I use the combination of these 2 guys because I take advantage of their intense soul charging capabilities to abuse my favorite card in Dark Irregulars, Doreen the Thruster. I am in love with this card. Not literally, but I am obsessed with this card in this game right now. Just because like, by abusing your Amon and Abyss, you can really pump her up to such like huge miraculous numbers that your opponent will just get overwhelmed, and especially late game, it's really fun. It's really fun to try and abuse her. So with Doreen the Thruster, she's a young Pegasus Knight clone. So she gains 3,000 power for every card you put in the soul. Now, if you think about it this way, Dark Lord of Abyss, he automatically soul charges 2 cards. Amon, well, you can put cards in the soul as much as you want as long as you have the counterblast and the hand size for it. So you're only limited to how much counterblast and cards in your hand you have. Basically with Doreen, you can easily make her a 12k booster practically every turn. For really not much effort. Now, of course, the favorite play that me and my friends have grown to get associated with, it's called YOLOing the Doreens. So basically, it's like when I'm playing this deck with my friend's down to like 5 damage, and let's say I have a field like, let's say Dark Lord of Abyss, and let's say maybe 2 Doreens, and I have like 2 columns. Doesn't really matter. So the idea with this is, once my opponent's at like 5 damage, I usually ask how many cards they have in hand, and they will tell me maybe 5. And this is just when me and my friend just go, okay, might as well just YOLO the Doreens. So this is where like I go off with Doreens. So I look at my counterblast, I look at cards in my hand, and I try to soul charge as much as I can to get these columns as big as I can. Sometimes I don't even need to do it, but I do it just because it's fun. Now, to demonstrate, let me actually switch these guys because Amon's better to use. So let's say I have 4 open counterblast, you know? Let's see if I can see, you guys can see that. Well, I don't have it. So let's say 4 open counterblast. So let's count to see how big I can make Doreens. So Alluring Succubus, you soul charge 1, that's 1. Amon skill, counterblast 1, put it in the soul, your opponent retires. Rearguard, so that's 2 cards, so these are 12. Let's use Amon skill again, that's 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, so these are already 15k boosters, which are insane. So this is already 26 and 24k columns, but it won't end there, of course. Use Hysteric Shirley, which is an addition in set 5, which is really good. You put her in soul and soul charge 1, so she's automatically 2 cards. So let's go ahead and use her. Soul charge 1, that's 2 more, so Doreen is already at 21. And let's use Dark Knight of Nightmare Land, so we'll put him in the soul and give a unit plus 3,000 power. So let's do this, and let's give the Flurry plus 3,000 power. So we did a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total soul charges. So 6 times 3 is 18, plus the 6. These are 24,000 each. So this is already going to be swinging for 35, and this is going to be for 33, 36. So that's already huge. I mean, I can keep going if I have more counter, depending on how much counterblast I have left, how many cards I have. I mean, you can already see like the plays I do with this. Now essentially I am using up all my resources for this, but that's why we call it the YOLO for Doreens. So yeah, I just swing in and I just call out big numbers at these rear guards. I think my record I got a Doreen column was like 66,000. That's because I had like 3 of these in hand, 2 of these in hand, and I had an Amon with a bunch of counterblast. And it's pretty insane like how big you can make these columns. It's kind of funny because sometimes if I'm facing an opponent who's unaware of what I'm doing, then I shout out like 55,000 to your Vanguard with the rear guards column, and they're like, wait, why is it 55? I pretty much have to write out a math equation for them. So, you know, I soul charge a total amount of this amount times the 3,000 plus the 6 plus this. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, I actually wrote out a math equation for somebody when they were questioning why my Doreen columns are so huge. So it's really fun. There's really never a dull moment when I'm playing this deck. In terms of competitiveness, I mean, I think this deck can be very competitive. I think the problem that they have right now is just consistency issues because they don't have a way to search out any of these pieces. You just hope to draw into these. But whenever you're playing against me with this deck and you see me drop a Doreen on my rearguard circle and you're at 4 or 5 damage, definitely watch out because she's going to get huge and I'm going to be making pushes. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That concludes episode 2 of why I play this deck. So definitely Dark Irregulars has definitely grown to be one of my favorite clans out there. They're a very interesting clan, and of course with every deck I've seen, whether it's in person or on YouTube, I've never really seen a build that's exactly the same as mine. There's also different varieties, different combinations to try out. So right now Dark Irregulars aren't the most expensive clan, so definitely if you have some spare cash, you're thinking about another deck to play, definitely pick up this deck, give them a try. I think there's a lot in store for you to try out. Of course, for all my Dark Irregular players out there, feel free to leave a comment down below and share with you guys and share with us your experiences with the deck. What are some things you like about the deck? And definitely give a thumbs up to this video if you like what you saw. And definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel for some more content. So yeah, other than that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next episode.